Thank you very much, Gilles. We really appreciate the support in hosting us here and for such a big event and a celebration of 50 years of wheelchair. And we're very fortunate that the FFT is not only a member of the ITF, but a founding member and a very important member of our federation. So thank you. Our Hall of Champions, 50 years of wheelchair tennis is exceptional, and so what we wanted to do was have a Hall of Champions where we're able to honor those that really have been instrumental in helping from the early days until today of the game. And today we will induct, as Gilles said, my limited French, I know he talked about 7 inductees today, and so we're very, very, very excited about that. We've had some inductions earlier in the year in Netherlands. We have one tomorrow in England, in Eastbourne, and then we'll be doing something at the US Open. We did something also in Australia. So I think one of the most important things about wheelchair tennis is, if you look at the international federations, we are really the only federation that from many, many years ago integrated tennis, wheelchair tennis, and tennis onto the highest stages of the game. Everyone remembers Roland-Garros when we were here for the Paris Olympics and Paralympics. And I think those were some of the finest moments, some of the most memorable. I think if you remember Ota winning, playing on Chatrier and winning and taking his wheels off and on the ground. I mean, it was probably one of the most emotional, one of the best pictures in my mind of what wheelchair could be, and on the biggest stage. Roland-Garros with the Grand Slams does a fantastic job of hosting wheelchair, as do the other 3 Grand Slams. But we're also integrating it into some of the higher level events. So it's truly a professional sport. We have over 140 tournaments a year, and actually 160 tournaments a year in more than 60 countries. So it's truly global. So how did it start? Well, in 1998, we're celebrating 50 years, but in 1998, wheelchair tennis was integrated into the International Tennis Federation, and we were the first body, and more than half of the Olympic sports federations still are separate when it comes to parasport. So we're really, really proud of what we've been able to do. The Paralympic Games and the Olympic Games are one of the best platforms to be able to showcase tennis. Our athletes love to compete. I think if we look back in Paris and see Novak Djokovic and what it meant to him to win an Olympic gold medal. And I remember the day after I was staying at the Molitor, and Carlos Alcaraz and his family were there, and I saw Carlos in the morning, and I said, congratulations. He said, why? I lost. I said, no, you are an Olympian. You will, yes, you won the silver medal, you won the gold. How old are you? How old is Novak? Maybe you have a few more years, but it meant so much to him to be able to want to compete and want to win. And that's what's great about the sport of tennis in both the Olympic and Paras, that the athletes want to compete at the highest stage. So in many ways, we're kind of transitioning, right? So we were here in Paris, and now we're transitioning to Los Angeles. Los Angeles will be where the Olympics are, and we're very fortunate that we work with the USTA. Where tennis will be held is at the Carson facility in California, which is the USTA's Western High Performance Training Center. So again, we'll be in good hands working with one of our strongest federations like the FFT to be able to promote the sport. So we're really excited about that. The tennis event, just to remind everyone, will be the 19th through the 28th of July, and the wheelchair event will take place between the 18th and the 16th, so a month later, or 18th and the 26th rather. in order to compete in the Olympics and Paralympics, you have to play at least 2 times in a 4-year cycle representing your nation in Davis Cup, Billie Jean King Cup, and the World Cups when it comes to the Paris as well. So just a couple things, and then I promise I'll stop. So what's new for 2028? We will start the Olympics with a mixed doubles event. It'll be the first 2 days of the event will be the mixed doubles. And the reason we're doing that is we want the top players to be able to play. Sometimes they try to play singles, doubles, and mixed doubles, and what happens as it comes towards the end, they're focusing perhaps on singles if they're doing well. This enables everybody to compete in the beginning. It's a great way to kick it off, so we're excited about that. It'll be a draw of 16, and there'll be 2 matches per day. There'll be a match tiebreak in the third, so we're trying to keep the matches to a reasonable time so the athletes can play and prepare. They will have been coming from Wimbledon, so they will have been playing on grass, so this gives them a way to get used to the hard court. Both the Paris 2024 Olympic and Paralympic wheelchair tennis events were spectacular, and we see this continuing. We're very proud as a sport to be one of the few sports, if not the only sport, and I'd like to say the pinnacle of any sport that really has the para and the athletes that play professionally on the same stages in all the events around the world. So thank you very much for your time. Also like to say that what a fantastic job Paris 2024, the organizing committee, the sports director for tennis, what a fantastic job they did here, and we're hoping that we can have that same success and that same high level in LA in 2028. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Dave. Good morning, everyone. We'll open the floor for some any questions now around the wheelchair 50th anniversary or Olympics and Paralympics. If you could raise your hand, indicate your name and your outlet, and then Dave will answer the question. We'll start with questions in English, and then if there's any questions in French, we can do those after, and Emmanuel will translate. So, who would like to start?
Dave, Craig, Gabriel. Are you able to just expand on the importance of the Olympics and Para Games in relation to tennis? It was interesting in the room behind us a few days ago that Alexander Zverev made a clear comment that he would never swap his gold medal for any major. So the development of the sport through the Olympics and the growth in its importance to the actual overall sport of tennis.
Thank you, Craig. So one of the benefits of being in the Olympics is that we are able to get some funding which helps us develop the game around the world. So we use that money in underdeveloped, under-resourced countries to be able to help players develop, to be able to put programs to have more juniors, increase participation, which is really important. Zverev's comments I saw as well, and it was very emotional for me even to see how he values that Olympic gold medal. And I remember when he received it and how much it meant to him. I think the Olympics is a chance for tennis players who play. It's a tough life, right? You're by yourself. You're traveling. You're competing against many people year in and year out, and a team event. And the Olympics is really a team event because you're with your country, you're with other sports, and I think some of the best experiences that the tennis players have had in the Olympics is, the opening ceremony, marching with your fellow athletes from your country. You might have a basketball player who is an idol of you from the same country, and you get to meet them and march along. So I think it's a completely different experience. You live in the athlete's village. You see athletes from all different nations. It's just a magnificent experience that is unlike any other tennis event that we would have. So I think it means a lot to the athletes.
Hi, Dave. Good morning. I'm I'm a columnist with the Hindustan Times in Delhi. My question is about the wheelchair tennis and the 50 years. What was the rationale behind you getting a tennis to integrate with the wheelchair sports, which is only happening now? Like you said, some countries still function. And what's the development been over 50 years that you see as a sign of progress and full integration?
Yeah, so each country is different because if we look at it from kind of the mothership with the IOC and the IPC, you have two different organizations. So therefore, in some countries, you have a National Olympic Committee, a National Paralympic Committee. As an IOC member, I also serve on my National Olympic Committee, which is the US OPC, where it's integrated in the United States, Olympic and Paralympic, one of about 10 nations that have integrated, and I highly recommend it. I think it makes sense. By bringing wheelchair and tennis together, we were able to take advantage of the knowledge, the events, the tournaments, the circuit that we have on the tennis side, and take those learnings and be able to do it on the wheelchair side. Most of our nations, not all, but most of our nations work together with both the wheelchair and tennis. Sometimes there could be a separate wheelchair federation, but they work with the tennis federation. I think a lot of it has been because of time. 50 years we've had a chance to collaborate, and we're always stronger together than we are by ourselves. So I think that's really what we're trying to do, and then use those facilities to be able to have high-quality, top-level wheelchair players competing as well.
Dave, welcome in France. Mark Kalkman, National Coach, Fédération Française de Tennis. In '88, wheelchair tennis was a demonstration sport in Seoul, and 4 years later in Barcelona it became official sport. So the wheelchair tennis is following the tennis a little bit. And you were mentioned in 28 to have the mixed doubles for the able body in the Olympics. Are there any plans in 32 to have mixed doubles in Brisbane for wheelchair tennis?
Well, certainly, thank you for that, and a great suggestion, something that we have thought about. As we look at the programs, part of it comes down to working with the local organizing committee. So in this case, with Brisbane 32 to put together the program, and the IOC, because they sign off on the program. It is something, in fact, I think in the wheelchair, we've been trying to increase the quota, the number of athletes that compete, so that we could have, as a professional sport with 160 tournaments around the world, the more we can help those athletes be on the highest stages makes sense. So something we can look at. We haven't made any decisions yet, but certainly a good suggestion to, again, showcase the wheelchair tennis in a mixed doubles way. Thank you.
I'll just ask the final question in English, Dave. Just a little bit, could you elaborate a little bit on the rationale for putting mixed doubles on day one and day two?
Yeah, I think the main reason we wanted to, knowing that we're transitioning surfaces, right, from grass court to hard court, and knowing that the athletes want to get as much practice when they transition on time as they can. And the mixed doubles event seemed to be a superb opportunity to allow the top players to compete in three disciplines. They always like to be in mixed doubles, doubles, and singles, but this would be in a way to manage their time better, where over a 2-day period you play If you win, you play, 2 matches one day, 2 matches the next day, and you're completed. So you're getting great practice, but you're also competing for a medal. You're competing for a gold medal, and we think the player field will be very strong because of that. We think the top players, both men and women, will be competing in the mixed doubles, and it's a great way to showcase mixed doubles because we as recreational players, we play more doubles than we do singles, and oftentimes we're playing mixed doubles, not just doubles. So we think it'll appeal to a broader audience, and from a broadcast perspective, we tend to have our medal events at the end of the Olympic period, and there are other sports that are having their medal ceremonies and at the same time. This way, we're in the first couple of days of the Olympics when there are fewer medal sports, fewer medal rounds. So we're really able to showcase it from a broadcast as well as from people in stadium.
Any other questions in English? We'll move to French. Oh, sorry.
Hello, I'm Takafumi Yoshida from Japanese News Agency, Kyoto. Just for clarify, is it about LA's schedule? So first 2 days only mixed doubles, and from third day you will start men's and women's singles and doubles. Is that okay?
That's correct. Yes, thank you.
Est-ce qu'on a des questions en français? Pas de questions en français. Merci à tous pour votre présence. Thank you everyone for being here this morning. Thank you, David Haggerty. Bonne journée à tous.
Merci, monsieur.